to ask questions, and so this will be my last scheduled one, and appropriately I have our Mayor-elect Sharon Owens here, who you'll be hearing from in a little bit, but I'll do so again at the end, but just want to thank the media for being great partners with us over the years as we've conducted these briefings, and again, look forward to answering questions after, as we always do. We've got a full agenda. Big items that we're going to touch on are public safety and housing, which is appropriate because those have been priorities of mine and Mayor-elect Owens for the past 8 years. So some good information to share. But you're looking at the agenda here. Again, we started these with the pandemic, and what we would always start with was a health update. And so we've continued with that since then, and we rely on Dr. Katie Anderson at the Onondaga County Health Department, our health commissioner, and her team for those updates. So she's provided one for us, which we're calling the early winter health update. We'll do CompStat like we always do. Look at the SPD data. Brief update on automated enforcement in school zones. Touch on parking amnesty, housing, as I mentioned. Deputy Mayor is going to share some updates on online permitting and code enforcement, and a few other items that we don't need to go into in detail. But again, we'll answer questions at the end. So let's start with the health update. So I'm sure everybody's noticing more people walking around with the sniffles or maybe a cough. 'Tis the season. So we checked with Dr. Anderson and have the following updates. So flu, COVID-19, and RSV are all on the rise. They're all increasing as they typically do this time of year. Flu is rising the fastest of those three, both in terms of cases and hospitalizations. A reminder, there is still time to get vaccinated. We know that vaccinations nationwide are down. They are still the most effective way to reduce the risk and the impact of those viruses. So encourage folks to get their flu and COVID-19 vaccines. In addition to the usual seasonal issues, viruses, seasonally we also see an increase in depression and anxiety this time of year, as well as people dealing with substance use problems. The holidays tend to, again, exacerbate some of those issues. So Health Commissioner wanted to remind folks that the risk of overdose does increase this time of year. There are things that people can do to help address that. The county does offer free naloxone, as well as treatment referrals and crisis counseling. So information can be found on the county's website, which is ongov.net. So encourage people, you're struggling, going through some issues, please avail yourself of the many resources that we have out there. Everybody struggles in different ways, and it's important that you take advantage of the resources and support that's out there. Finally, another challenge that becomes particularly acute this time of year is around food access, as well as heating costs. So food and heating costs we know are a significant burden on many of our families here in the city. And again, the county is a great partner in providing support for individuals facing those increases in costs. So encourage people to reach out to the Department of Social Services at the county, as well as the Onondaga County Community Food Connections. So information on local food pantries, meal sites, and other programs across the county can also be found on their website at ongov.net. So hopefully we'll get the screen back up here momentarily, but we're gonna keep moving. Okay.
Would you push the accept button on there? For some reason they wanted to knock us out.
Okay. So hopefully momentarily you will see our CompStat report. So as a reminder, SPD provides the weekly CompStat reports on their on the city's website. So go to syr.gov, go in the search bar, type in CompStat, and you'll get the weekly reports. So I wanted to highlight a few things from the weekly report. Overall crime is down 23.7% compared to the same time last year, which is really positive. We've seen 1,200 fewer calls to police. Specifically, come on in. Welcome, Scott. So specifically, violent offenses are down 19%, and property crime is down 24.6%. So significant decreases in both violent crime and property crime year over year. I want to certainly acknowledge the good work of the Syracuse Police Department. I sat in on my last CompStat meeting of of the administration with SPD leadership this morning. They do a great job. Our officers are out there every day, not only preventing crimes but solving crimes. I want to give credit where it's due. Also want to acknowledge the significant work that we've done over the years to build our capacity to deal with these issues, which I do think is reflected in these numbers that you see. Again, every major crime category is down year over year, and all but 2 are down compared to the 5-year average. Our mayor's office to reduce gun violence, their Safer Streets program, our Syracuse Police Athletic and Activities League. These are all efforts that were initiated under this administration, and we do think, along with a lot of other community partners and the great work of our first responders and our police officers, have contributed to the decline in numbers. And again, it's not just year over year. When you look at the 5-year average, overall crime is down 8.5%. Violent crime is down 24.6% compared to the 5-year average. Homicides are down almost 41% year over year, and against the 5-year average, down 4.2%. So these are, a lot of these declines are consistent with what other communities are experiencing, but make no mistake, the specific things that we're doing here in Syracuse are making a difference, and in many ways are a model for other communities as well. We never rest on our laurels. We don't pat ourselves on the back. There's still a lot of challenges out there, and we're certainly not going to let our guard down. We're going to continue to try to drive these numbers down, and I have no doubt that Mayor-elect Owens and her team will continue these efforts. I want to show you the next screen because oftentimes when we talk about the 5-year average, people say, well, yeah, but that includes that was still during this administration, or that includes the pandemic. So shootings with injury and fatality, which I think we would all agree are the most tragic crimes and oftentimes have the most impact on our community and the most trauma. I think this graphic is telling, and I just want to call out a few things about it, which also speaks to some of the efforts of the mayor's office to reduce gun violence and the other work that we have going on every day. So if you look at the top of the chart, that red line, that's 2020. We know that 2020 was a challenging year in many ways, but as it relates to shootings, it was a really bad year. When you look at the purple line, that's on the bottom, that's this year. Obviously much better. So when you compare this year to 2020, shootings with injury and fatalities are down a third. When you look at the 5-year average, which is I believe the black dotted line there, as well as the 10-year average, which is the blue dotted line there, you see that shootings with injuries and fatalities are down more than 50% this year compared to both the 5-year average and the 10-year average. So what we're seeing here is significant, and we expect we're going to do everything in our power to continue to drive down these numbers. But again, want to acknowledge all of the partners involved, and also want to acknowledge Mayor-elect Owens, who, in her role as deputy mayor, oversaw not only the police department, but a lot of these programs that we've instituted that, again, we think are positively contributing to these numbers. Excuse me. Something in the eye there. Okay. Shifting gears a little bit, we've talked about the role of speed and red light enforcement in school zones as a force multiplier for the police department. We need our officers focusing on the most serious crimes, and the reality is, given where our current capacity is, traffic violations have not been on the top of the list. So thankfully we have technology that's helped to serve as a force multiplier and really help address traffic safety issues, especially around our schools where, of course, we have our most vulnerable constituents. So we are in the process of getting a data dump on the most recent numbers through November, so I don't have fresh data to share yet, but what I can tell you is that the numbers are continuing to go down. So as we know, in the first couple weeks, we saw really shocking numbers, both in terms of overall volume of violations, as well as some really scary speeds that we caught drivers taking down some critical school routes, and so those numbers are coming down. So that's a good thing. And again, we will share those as soon as we get them. We have, as some people are aware if they've been following, we have been in the process of relocating some of our locations, 13 to be exact, where again, this is a process that we want to make sure that we're in full compliance with New York State law, but we also want to make sure we have them in the right places where they're most effective. So that process is underway, and once we get those relocated, those will go online as well, and it'll be interesting to see what it does with the numbers. But the bottom line is we're moving in the right direction. Drivers are getting the message. They're slowing down. They are stopping at red lights as they should, and they are abiding by the school bus stop arm rules as well at a better clip. But still, a lot of dangerous driving out there. We can tell you after just a couple months that this is absolutely the right thing to do in this community. It's part of our broader Vision Zero approach in eliminating traffic fatalities and serious injuries. It's been a very successful program, and again, success is defined by eliminating fatalities and serious injuries, and by getting people to drive safely, not by the fines that we collect. Although that is a relevant component of it. So moving in the right direction. More data to share soon, but really proud of the work that we've done so far. Moving on, just wanted to remind folks that our parking amnesty program is still live. So we extended the parking amnesty program through January 2nd to give drivers with overdue parking tickets more time to take advantage of this opportunity. So as a reminder, we waive late fees on all overdue parking tickets and allow drivers to pay their tickets at a discounted cost of the original fine and the New York State surcharge, excuse me. It's a great opportunity to prevent your vehicle from getting booted due to multiple overdue parking tickets. And it's a great opportunity to use our online portal. If you have any tickets that you may have forgotten about, you can search up your name and find those tickets and get them paid for at a reduced cost before you end up getting booted. We know how critical it is to have access to a vehicle for work, for school, for other purposes. And again, we don't want to take people's access away, but people need to be responsible and accountable and pay the fines that are owed. And we're trying, in partnership with the Common Council, to give people an opportunity to catch up and to start fresh with parking amnesty. So that's the goal here. Highly encourage everyone who parks in the city, again, even if you don't think you have a ticket, to visit our parking amnesty webpage at syr.gov/parking amnesty. And again, you can look it up by name to see if you have overdue tickets. You can also look it up for family and friends if you want to help them out. One more update for me before I turn it over to Mayor-elect Owens. Again, we are at the end of the administration, and so we've been doing a lot of reflecting and making sure that we are holding ourselves accountable for the promises that we've made. And I'm very pleased to say that the housing promise that I made at my State of the City address in 2024 has been met. So for those that may need a reminder, at my State of the City address in 2024, the housing promise that I made was that at a time of urgent need of housing, that we would have completed or underway 2,500 units of additional housing in the city of Syracuse before I leave office. We spent a lot of time looking at the numbers. We wanted to set a goal that was achievable but ambitious, and we feel like we did that with the 2,500 units. So again, I'm proud to say that we have met that promise. To give you, you can see on the screen here a breakdown of it. So of those units, we have 1,215 units complete. We have an additional 1,936 units underway for a total of 3,151 units. So we not only met our promise, we exceeded it by about 25%. Really proud of our team. Housing is one of those things that we have influence over but not full control over. We need our critical partners, our developers. We have some great housing partners in the region. We also need our city government partners working very hard to support these projects, whether it's through financing, whether it's through permitting. So I want to give a specific shout out to some of our partners in the Department of Neighborhood and Business Development, including zoning, permitting, and code enforcement, and people across city government. Virtually every department touches housing in one way or the other, and everybody, when we set this goal, and housing has been a priority since 2018, and we've achieved even more than that over the course of the 8 years. But again, going into 2024, we felt that it was necessary to raise the bar, both in terms of the immediate need for more safe, quality, affordable housing for our residents that are here today, as well as to prepare for what's coming tomorrow with future investments, including Micron. So it was really a team effort. It was a massive lift, again, an achievable but ambitious goal, and I'm really proud of our team that we've exceeded that goal with a strong pipeline of projects going forward, and even more that aren't accounted for in these numbers that we expect to be underway in the coming weeks and months. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor-elect Owens. Obviously, permitting is a critical component of our housing work, as is code enforcement, and Mayor-elect Owens is going to touch on some updates in those areas. Mayor-elect.
Hello. We absolutely have been listening to businesses and homeowners in the city of Syracuse about increasing the efficiency and the streamlining the process for our permitting process. And so I'm here to give you some updates today that the final round of applications for business licenses, right-of-way, and zoning permits have been added to the city's online portal. And it marks the completion of moving all of those paper applications into an online part of the city's digital transformation of that process. It will help us reduce the number of steps to review and provide 24-hour access. Now that is the key part of it. 24-hour access for the applicant to track the submittal of their application, but also the process underway for their application. And so it provides a more open and transparent opportunity. And I'm proud of the improvements that we've been able to make to improve those times. We have an internal process that we hold ourselves accountable to really set a litmus for how we are doing as far as processing our applications. And I'm pleased to report from 2019, when we were just over half compliant, to now we are 80%, meeting those internal thresholds that we set. It's about a 27-point increase. And so we understand that for people seeking to do development in our community, time is money. And so we need to ensure that our processes are not hindering the ability for the development that's going on all over the city, whether it be a fence for a family or the newest innovative and amazing project being developed in our city. And so next week, the Central Permit Office is going to host 2 community training webinars, one on Tuesday, December 16th at 5 o'clock, and the other Thursday, December 18th at 2 o'clock. We encourage you to ensure that if you want to know about the process and how to move through, you'll have to go through, click on the portal, set up your own personalized account. That account will help you get access to your applications and what you're looking to communicate between the city and our department people. You can register for these at sear.gov/camino/training. And you can always get information online at sear.gov/online applications, or you can always just call the office if you need to talk to a human being. I know that there are some people that are, maybe a little concerned about being able to do this online. We're here to help you through that process. We believe this is the most efficient way, getting out of the way of paper into the digital sphere so that we can 24-hour access and open communication on a data-based, hour-to-hour process. And so code enforcement, again, our code enforcement are silent heroes out here in this snow right now, making sure people's heat is working, checking to see whether there are sewer backups, responding to the complaints of our residents concerning their code violations or code issues that are going on. And so sometimes a prophet is not honored in its own home. So our code enforcement, we do the work every single day, but nationally, people are seeing what we're doing and really recognizing the work that they do every day to protect residents and safety, improve the quality of life in neighborhoods. So in a recent publication of Strategic Code Enforcement, and it's a national guide for innovative code enforcement approaches, our city and our code enforcement department was one of several pioneering cities around the country to be highlighted. And so our people, including Jake Dishaw, who is Ruth Lee calls the general. That's right, the general, right? Including Jake Dishaw, who is the commissioner of code enforcement and zoning administration, are on 3 of the 4 cover photos, because they really are looking at what we're doing in Syracuse. Syracuse is not alone, really having to address aging housing stock and comparing aging housing stock with innovative ways to really improve housing. And so with our major challenges, we are taking a proactive and data-driven approach to responding to community needs. We have a small army of code inspectors to ensure that people are living and working and playing in safe spaces across this city. And I give all kudos to them in the work that they do every day. They go to training programs, conferences, and people pretty much find them in the crowd to say, where are the people from Syracuse, because they're hearing about what we're doing. It is a major accomplishment in this community, should be proud of. While you're calling a code inspector and asking them to address the issue in your house, give them an attaboy, tell them thank you for coming out, thank you for coming in. It is a hard job that they go out and they do every single day. And so I want to recognize that achievement and that national recognition that they're getting. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Mayor-elect. Again, just want to echo how proud we are of our permitting and code enforcement teams. Again, led by Deputy Commissioner Jake Dishaw, Code Enforcement Director Ryan Shield, of course, Commissioner Michael Collins. They're a great team, and again are certainly on the radar across the country in terms of innovative practices and doing things the right way. So just a few more updates for you before we open it up for questions. As you know, code enforcement is critical for quality of life, as is sanitation. You've heard us talk a lot about our trash and recycling program, the improvements that we've made, and we're very proud of those as well. But I do want to flag for everyone a new tool that we have that we think is going to be very helpful to property owners and in particular landlords who who have been asking for this for a long time. So we call it our SEER Notify system. It's a new digital alert to inform property owners, tenants, and property managers about health and sanitation violations, including illegal setouts and improper trash cart placements. So for those of you that have experienced that before, oftentimes what happens is someone will get an illegal setout violation. You might not see the tag on the cart, and you might it might be a week until you get something in the mail, long after the opportunity to cure that violation before a fine is assessed. Using the SEER Notify system, it delivers near real-time email notifications, ensuring that individuals are alerted as soon as violations are issued. The system supplements the traditional mail and posted notices that I mentioned, allowing residents and property managers to respond promptly, often within the 24-hour cleanup window before crews return, reducing fines and repeated violations. So again, when you get that violation, I think oftentimes people think that that's when you have to pay the fine. That's the violation. You have 24 hours to cure. This Notify system will give you, again, near-time notification. Again, if you're a landlord, you may not have eyes on the property right away. You get that notification, you can call your tenant, or you can send your property manager, or go over there yourself, pull it back, and so when we come back to re-inspect and ultimately to clear the violation if needed, you will have had time to address it and save yourself a fee, and also do your part to keep our curbside and our neighborhoods clean. So we have, since we've launched it, kind of did a soft launch, we have 1,800 addresses already subscribed to the SEER Notify system, but I'd recommend everyone participate, whether you're a landlord or you're just a property owner or a homeowner. You never know when you might get a violation. Maybe it's even a mistake, but all the more reason, the sooner you know about it, the better. So to learn more, just go to our website, syr.gov/SEER Notify, and get signed up. We promise we won't spam you or anything. It's just a good, useful tool that every property owner in the city of Syracuse should avail themselves to. Next, I want to talk about deer management. Again, 'tis the season. Want to give a quick update on our tick and deer management program. As a reminder, this is our 6th season doing this, so I've been doing a lot of reflecting and thinking about the campaign trail in 2017 and how much people were talking about deer. I think it's safe to say this most recent cycle certainly was not as nearly as big of a topic, although there's still work to be done and still differing opinions on on the impact of deer in the community. But we have found it to be a very effective program. As a reminder, the reason we do it is to reduce deer vehicle accidents, to reduce damage to parks and gardens and the overall environment and ecosystem, as well as to reduce public health risks like Lyme disease. So the targeted removal of deer begins next week, and the program will continue through March. So we have both private and public sites. We make sure that they're closed, so there isn't public does not have access to it to eliminate any risk of any interactions between the public and our partners in the program. The work is done by wildlife managers from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They're very good at what they do, and they do it really well. So all of the sites that we've identified, and we have some new ones, meet the state guidelines. I want to give credit to our state delegation, who's been great partners to us in making sure that we have the appropriate state legislation in place to undertake this program. Also want to thank the Common Council for being great partners, as well as County Executive McMahon and the County Legislature, all of whom have supported this program and ultimately help to achieve a more balanced and healthy deer population in the city of Syracuse. I've mentioned 'tis the season a few times. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that it is winter, as evidenced by the fluffy snow outside. And there is a lot to do in the winter. I think sometimes it starts to get cold, it starts to snow, people tend to hunker down and hibernate. We encourage people to get out and enjoy all that is offered here in this winter wonderland that is the city of Syracuse. So just some reminders. Lots of opportunities through our parks. We have cross-country ski trails and snowshoeing rentals and pop-up guided snowshoe walk opportunities. We have sledding, we have ice skating, all available in our parks facilities. Sunnycrest Park specifically, that's kind of our winter hub. They have 2.5 miles of cross-country ski trails at Sunnycrest and Eastwood. They also will groom those trails when weather permits. And they also convert the golf clubhouse into a winter lodge. You can rent cross-country ski equipment there, and you can also sled there as well. I mentioned pop-up snowshoe rentals, so those occur throughout the winter. We'll be announcing we announce those on our Syracuse Parks and Rec Facebook page and Instagram pages, so make sure you follow those pages for those pop-up events that happen during the weekends. Of course, we have the Clinton Square Ice Rink, which is officially open. We also have the John Dunn Ice Rink at Meacham Field and the Sunnycrest Ice Rink as well, that are all now open for the winter season for ice skating. I mentioned sledding. We have designated sledding areas at Burnett Park and Sunnycrest, and encourage people to get out and enjoy that as well. If you do prefer to stay indoors, we have plenty of indoor opportunities as well. I specifically want to mention our Burnett Park Arts and Crafts Center, where we're offering a variety of seasonally themed classes. Classes including winter paint and sip with hot cocoa, needle felted ornaments, felted coaster making, holiday card making, and 2026 vision board collage design. So there's really something for everybody at Parks. If you want to learn more about these and other programs, go to syracuse.recdesk.com. Okay. I mentioned this is my last community briefing. I could not be more excited about my colleague and partner, Mayor-elect Owens, who is, as you can see in this picture, has literally been by my side for the past 8 years. That was at my inauguration. Mayor-elect Owens was my first hire. I cannot wait to attend her inauguration. It's been a great ride, and we've been a great team. And again, I could not have written the script better than this in terms of the transition. There's nobody more qualified for this job. Frankly, much more qualified than I was when I started this job. I have no doubt you are going to hit the ground running and do amazing things in the city of Syracuse. So I just want to say congratulations to you, Mayor-elect Owens. We're going to see each other again, but want to formally and publicly thank you for your incredible public service over the past 8 years, and for your willingness to continue to serve in the coming years ahead. And I would love to have you come up here and share a few words before we close it out, where we will answer questions. So, congrats again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, that picture reminds me how bad my hair was back then. Get a little emotional. Mayor Walsh, you have been an amazing partner. This has been a good ride for you and for us together. And I just see, after just going over what you just showed, how much we have been able to accomplish. Now I know how tired I am right now. It has been an amazing ride, and I think that the city is well positioned to move forward. It's been because of your dedication, your leadership, and our partnership. And we cannot exclude all the other team members we have that have kept this train going and really efficient. I'm looking forward to swearing in. I'm looking forward to coming into this role. We foundationally have the same belief system, and I think that's important, but we are very much different people. And so there are things that we're doing right now that I'm going to continue to do. I don't reinvent the wheel. When something's working, we're going to continue to do it. But I'm also going to look at some other things that I'd like to do and really be able to establish. I'm bringing on my senior team. You'll be hearing those names between this week and next week and bringing them on. I'm really excited about that team of individuals. That it's going to be working with me and how we're going to continue to move this city and the momentum it has. Again, I've said on my campaign trail, and this is really resting in who I am as an individual, that we've done an amazing job at really preparing the city for the next phase. A lot of infrastructure work, a lot of whether it be roads and record pacing. We use record for a lot of stuff, and it was permitting, it was paving roads, it was getting sidewalks in, it was our trash program, so many different things. I'm going to continue that work because that is what needs to happen with a growing city. I am going to adopt all the transition and the change that's going to happen with the 81 project. And while we have been focused on what should be focused on, the north and south parts of the project, it's coming home, and it's coming home really quickly. For the work that's going to continue off of 690 and come through downtown in the areas as we finally get to the actual viaduct coming down. So it's going to be I'll be talking to you folks a lot about communication with DOT, about communication with our homeowners, about communication with our builders and our stakeholders, about the transformation. Pastor friend of mine said to me one day when he was in line waiting and I was in my car waiting and we're on the Bluetooth talking to each other, you are paused in progress. That is what we are. We're not used to this kind of traffic. We're not used to these kind of detours, but we are paused when you're waiting 5 more minutes to get where you need to go. We're paused in the progress that we're looking forward to in Syracuse. But my really looking at the focus of moving the human condition in our city to match the physical condition in our city. And that is where I'm really going to be focusing on. And working with the council to really start. I'm looking forward, as I've said before, to work with Council President Rita Paniagua. She has been a friend and a colleague for many years. Doesn't mean we're going to agree on everything, but I have a relationship with her that I believe that we'll be able to really move forward as we continue to move this city forward. I'm excited about the next years here. It is going to be different. It is going to be changed, but it all is working for all of our collective good, and I'm excited about it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Questions? Both available, obviously, for questions.
So, first of all, thank you so much for having us come in here. Appreciate it, and congratulations.
Thanks.
So overall, crime numbers went way down. It's an impressive feat. And so can you talk about this accomplishment for your administration? I mean, you guys have talked about how much work you put into this to drop it over the past 5 years, the past 10.
Yeah.
But talking about that accomplishment, I mean, that's a huge feat.
There's no greater priority than public safety. There's no greater responsibility that we have than to ensure that the people that we serve feel safe. And acknowledging the significant progress we made, we still understand that there are many people in this community that don't feel safe in their neighborhood or in their home. And so the work is never done. But when I look back over the past 8 years, I think we got out of the gate and we made some good strides. But then the pandemic happened and the world turned upside down, and crime numbers skyrocketed here and everywhere else. And so that really forced us to rethink the changes that we were making and the pace in which we were making them. It really created a greater sense of urgency that we needed to account for what was happening in the community and across the world and how it was impacting people. And so, those were some really tough years. But, if it wasn't for that time, I don't know that we would have seen the same amount of state and federal resources that have been invested here, which have been critical. I also want to acknowledge that, while Mayor-elect Owens and I both embraced the police reform movement and looked at it as an opportunity to make our police department better, we never did it at the expense of the department or its officers. We never stopped investing in the department. And so I think in that way, again, we were a model in that we leaned into the reform to make the department better, but we continued to support our officers, continued to fund our department, and so that put us in a position when we came out of the pandemic to really not only pick up where we left off before, but to accelerate the progress that we were making, whether it was the amazing work that Mayor-elect Owens and our next police chief, Mark Russin, did relative to alternative response, understanding that many of the folks that SPD is engaging with are dealing with mental health issues, with substance use issues, really creating brand new mechanisms to ensure that people were getting the right first response. But again, creating new programs like the Police Athletic Activities League, making sure that our young people have outlets where they can have fun, be safe, and be kids. Our mayor's office to reduce gun violence and really putting a focus on engaging with those really high-risk individuals that I think many people were inclined to just give up on. And we acknowledge that many of these individuals are young and don't have a lot of the support systems that many of us benefited from, and that we had an opportunity to engage with those individuals and try to get them on the right path. And again, I think we're really seeing the benefits of those. So again, there's no greater responsibility, and it is gratifying to see that those investments and those efforts are producing results. But if I've learned one thing over the past 8 years, you cannot rest on your laurels. You cannot let your guard down. We need to continue doing that, and I have no doubt that Mayor-elect Owens and her team will do that.
If no one else as well, I also have another. Do we go?
No.
Oh, Tori, go ahead.
Oh, you're talking about updates on plow drivers, just
Yeah.
seeing the amount of applicants that have come in, or any updates you have for us.
Yeah, so I've learned a lot about plowing over the past 8 years too, and what I've learned is there's a lot of ingredients that go into having a successful plow operation. All of which we've addressed in one way or the other. The most critical one for us, some people have heard me talk about in the early storms in 2018, when we might have started with 10 or 12 big plows on the road, only to end up in single digits when inevitably some go down during the storm. We have over 20 big plows now that are available for use. So getting the fleet in a better condition, that was a multi-year effort, but our plow fleet has not been in this good of shape in a very long time. So I feel really good about that. Mechanics is another one that we've that we've struggled with, but we have mechanics in place to keep those trucks operating, but that's another critical element of it that is always a challenge. But we've invested in those areas, and drivers, and for drivers. Of course, you need to have the numbers, and we do need more drivers. We have been slowly but steadily bringing on new ones, and so I can't give you a specific update on numbers, but we're in better shape today than we were a month or two ago. But it's not only getting drivers with CDLs, it's getting them experience, and I think that more than anything is the challenge that we're dealing with in the early part of this winter. Is we have a lot of new drivers out there. And I've never sat behind the wheel of a plow. I have used our simulator, which was another new thing that we brought. it is daunting. It's scary, and we've had new drivers start and go through one storm and go, this is not for me, and I don't blame them. You're driving a very large vehicle under difficult conditions, and it's not for everybody. So it's not only getting the drivers, it's getting them experience, and so you're going to see that throughout the winter. But I think they're doing a good job. I think they will get better. But it is, again, it's one of the many things that I thought that when I started, I would get to a point where I was done, and then we'd be like, all right, we're good. It's constant. It's evolving. It's fluid. But the fleet's in much better shape than it's been. We are getting new drivers in, and now we're getting them the experience that I think people will see as the winter goes on.
I got one more question about the housing promise as well. Kind of a similar approach with what was that number one driving factor to exceed, your promising?
Yeah.
Like we're seeing more units created, and so kind of what pushed that?
Yeah, so again, that it's been a priority since day one. Before people were talking about a housing crisis, I announced the Resurgent Neighborhoods Initiative back in 2019. We just cut the ribbon on some new houses down on South State Street. So it's been a priority for the past 8 years. It's been a multi-pronged approach where we're not just investing in one type of housing. We are building new single-family owner-occupied houses. We're building two-family houses, and we're building high-density residential rental homes as well. And I think there's a few key elements that have helped us to get to this point, understanding there's more work to be done. On the single-family housing development front, our secret weapon that we have that most other communities don't have is home headquarters. They're not the only game in town. We have some other good partners, Jubilee Homes and other organizations that are building their capacity. Home headquarters has been doing this for a long time, and so we knew that we had a partner that if we were able to get resources for, was going to be able to do more and more, and they've continued to take on more and more. We have other really critical development partners as well that have had experience doing this work. So we have really good private sector and nonprofit sector housing partners. The other critical element is resources, and credit where it's due. Governor Hochul and her team at Homes and Community Renewal, HCR, has invested unprecedented resources into Syracuse to help us build our housing stock. I mentioned the owner-occupied single-family housing development. There's a relatively new program, the acronym is AHOP, that didn't exist a few years ago, that has really helped to make the numbers work on this development. It's really hard to make the financials on these projects work, and that's the only thing that's stopping us from doing more faster. We've gotten our permitting process to a point where we're able to accommodate those needs, but the financing is really difficult, and without New York State, whether it's through the low-income housing tax credit program, the AHOP program, or the variety of other programs that they've launched, we would not be able to do as much as we're doing. You add on top of that the historic tax credit program, the brownfield program. All of these are critical in order to making these projects work. Mayor-elect, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Okay. All right. Good. Good team. Anything else?
Just about the Plow app was down yesterday. I just wondered if you guys had any updates of why that happened.
Yeah, well, I love that people noticed that. That was something that also didn't exist 8 years ago, and one of the things that we wanted to do is make sure that we had transparency around our plowing operations, and so people could see what we were doing. What I'm told is there was actually a system-wide outage with the technology provider that supports the map. It wasn't anything specific to Syracuse, but I think it was back online pretty quickly yesterday and is currently online. So, in this world of technology, we are relying on partners far beyond the limits of the city of Syracuse, and I think everybody can relate to that with the various programs that they rely on. But it was a relatively brief interruption and back online. Anything else? Thank you, everybody, for the time. Again, to the members of the media, I do want to say thank you very much. The role that you play in not only sharing information on the work that we do, but holding us accountable, it's critical for our community, it's critical for our democracy, and I really appreciate the work that you all do. So thank you, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, guys. Oh, no. So, Phil,
Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
do you need me to grab anything?
See you.
You know, Phil is stand up and just he's out front. It's just a 6 o'clock package. And you won't get anything.
I'm moving. He's fired up. No, it is?
We were talking about you and him, having your,
I guess the
no,
McDonald's.
anything, you guys have the same,
Oh, I'm jealous. All you wanna do with me?
I'm so hungry right
bar a
now.
little bit.